Back at it again. It's the Football Playbook. Buckle up. Double chin strap edition here with your boy RIC in the place to be. Ric Serritella telling it like it is. When it comes to your 12-1 Philadelphia Eagles, the National Football League, college football landscape, NFL draft, and the entire football universe. Woo, what up, Bird Gang? Come fly with me. Eagles taking care of business every day. A little bit of yard work going on up at the Meadowlands, 48-22. Historic is all I can say about your vaunted juggernaut Philadelphia Eagles, who at this point in time, okay, the calendar has flipped to December. 12-1 means there's 4 games left, guys. This is real talk. This is a organization right now that has never seen a team like your 2022 version. I said it. This team is capable of becoming the greatest Philadelphia Eagles team in the modern day era ever. Maybe ever in the history of the Eagles organization. It's quite possible. I don't know. I was going down the rabbit hole over the weekend with Chuck Bednarik and some of the teams that he was a part of. In 1960, I think I would put the Philadelphia Eagles 2022 version right up with the 1960 Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, by the way, buckle up. I get right into the Eagles, man. It's all business here, man. We ain't playing games with it. Danny D, Justin C, Stephen Michael, William Stark, Travis Yoder. Welcome to the show. Stephen J. Patton. All my chat room people in the front and the back. Runner. Woo! Baby, where are we checking in from today on this Victory Monday? Come fly with me. We're going to be flying and moving and grooving for the next 2 hours here on the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. It's all brought to you by Ocean Casino Resorts in Atlantic City. Frankie Gradia, good to see you today. Hey, we're going to get into it, man. 2 hours of power. Okay, it's our 70th edition. Hey, how about that? How about a little love? Telford, PA, I see you. Arizona, okay. We have Howard Balzer scheduled for today's show. Tone, by the way, I forgot to ask if you saw that. Checking in at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, Philadelphia's Howard Balzer, the H-Man, should drop in on us. We'll talk about the Eagles. We'll talk about a little Monday Night Football. He's out there in the desert, home of this year's Super Bowl. Egg Harbor Township, EHT, and the place to be. Love to see it. South Kakalaka, SB, Ricky, Dylan. Ooh, baby, Jersey strong. You know it. I think the Eagles are going to have a heavy, heavy, heavy presence out in the desert. We got to get there first. By the way, on this Monday, December 12th, 2022, before we strap up the shoulder pads and lace them up for 2 hours of power, I do want to give thoughts and prayers to the Mike Leach family. And anytime one of our football brethren face a grave situation like Mike Leach currently is, we want to send our shout outs and thoughts and hope for a recovery for Mike Leach, who, you know, the details are speculative. I'm hearing that he had a heart attack. He was airlifted to the hospital yesterday, in case you guys didn't see that. So he's in grave condition, from my understanding. So Mike Leach needs our support out there, all of my football community and football fans. He's had a great impact on this beautiful game and a great impact on a lot of our football community there. So thoughts and prayers to the one Mike Leach. And hey, the Cowboys need a lot of prayer service here. And you know, you got the Bears coming up here. Okay. 7.5 favorites I saw. Don't overlook the Bears now, because the Cowgirls are coming up on Christmas Eve. Chicago does have the #1 rushing offense, but man, I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter, because at this point in time, it really doesn't matter what the other team does. And you hear like Brandon Graham, Jalen Hurts, really everybody who speaks, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we ain't worried about adapting and adjusting to trying to stop Saquon Barkley, who was a pedestrian 9 for 28 with the neck injury. He did play. Good for him. But, man, I'll tell you what, you can state a case in terms of as far as I've been alive. We talk about, hey, you can't put the Eagles team up there. You can't even put them up with 2017 yet, because there's still a mission to be accomplished. There's still 4 more regular season games, and they'll have to probably win, 3 to seal the deal. But I'll tell you what, man, this is clearly the greatest Eagles offense I've ever seen in my lifetime. I mean, this is my 21st year of coverage over at the NFLDraftBible.com. I can go back as far as the 85 Bears in terms of the recollection and memory. So in my past, 35 years or so of observing the great game of football, I can't recall an Eagles team, maybe with Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens, there was something comparable. But, man, in terms of the Batman, there are no Robins, right? Those teams had Robins. This team's all Batmans. I'll tell you, man. Miles Sanders, another big day. A $144 on the ground. Jalen Hurts, we'll get into that conversation later in the show. But I'll tell you what, week number 14 here on the Football Playbook? There's 2 questions that have been answered. The Eagles are clearly the best team in the National Football League. And Jalen Hurts is clearly the most valuable player in the NFL. That is no longer a debate, okay? We'll have that conversation a little bit later in the show, but I want to talk about what a great team victory. I mean, another 40 burger, maybe to get a 50 burger against the Bears. But you take a look at what they've done to say what you want, a 7-win ball club. That's what the Giants were, a 7-win team. And I'll tell you what, talk about a reality check, okay? Everybody wants to get into the hardware halfway through the season. Let's pump the brakes on Brian Daboll as Coach of the Year, shall we? Let's pump the brakes there, okay? I don't think the Giants are getting into the playoffs. The Commanders coming off the bye week this week, I think they're in prime position, especially with the Seahawks losing. I think 3 teams in the East are getting in. It's going to be the Eagles, the Cowgirls, and the Commanders. Giants will be on the outside looking in. So, hey, great. Good for you, Brian Daboll. Good for you, Joe Shane. I'm glad you changed the culture and have begun to turn the corner. But as you saw yesterday, there's not a lot of talent on that New York Giants roster. Not a lot of playmakers. They could not. I mean, there was one big play by Darius Slayton, I think 37 yards. Other than that, there are no big play threats on the New York Giants offense. And the defense really doesn't have much to build around. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, they got some pieces up front. Other than that, I mean, there's no stars on the New York Giants. They got a lot of work to do. They got a lot of drafting to be done. I'll tell you what, man, that was really just a reality check in terms of a contender versus a pretender, okay? That, to me, was a joke. Not even in the same stratosphere, okay? A demolishing. And I heard it was a party up in there in MetLife Stadium by the 4th quarter. All the Giants fans heading out early for the exits. The Giants fans were just as bad as the product on the field. I heard the Giants fans were getting tackled by the turnstiles. They were moving and grooving so fast out of the stadium yesterday. Woo, baby. Oh, man, I'll tell you, just an utter dominant performance. 27 first downs, 10 through the air, 15 on the ground, a balanced attack. Boston Scott back at it again in the return game. He had that 166-yarder, 117 return yards on the day. He averaged 40 yards a return. Brenton Covey averaged 7.3 a punt return. Maybe that's the secret sauce formula heading into the playoffs. Again, clicking on all cylinders. Offense, defense, passing, running. Reddick, Brandon Graham. I mean, he's just flying high, taking those Walter Payton Man of the Year award vibes and carrying them right into the game. 3 sacks, sack fumble. Best believe there'll be another Philadelphia Eagle with a weekly award. I'm looking at you, Brandon Graham, and hey, you might have a double down. Jalen Hurts, Brandon Graham, more Player of the Week awards coming, but you can tell listening to the comments, Eagles don't really care. Eagles don't really care about hardware. And, you heard Miles Sanders say, hey, we're just getting started. A lot to be done. Everyone was asked, hey, does it feel good to make the playoffs? And granted, James Bradberry, who's new on the block, and granted is, been around the block and really has only played and participated in one playoff game for his career. You could tell, hey, it meant a lot more to James Bradberry because this Eagles team, I believe now, has been in the playoffs 4 of the past 5 years. Tone, correct me if I'm wrong there, but hey, Eagles are kind of, true to this. They're not new to this. James Bradberry, on the other hand, said, hey, yeah, it's significant because I know so many players that have been in this league and haven't gotten to the playoffs. So, yeah, it was significant. Otherwise, Ric Serritella said, hey, good to get the W, but we've got much bigger goals. Dog mentality. Somebody asked him about last year, said last year's last year, this year's this year, not trying to compare. Like, dog mentality is literally like learn from your mistakes, move on, and get over it. He ain't trying to hear all that. Oh, hey, Nick, coach, what do you think about the progress from last year to this year? He ain't trying to see all that. He ain't trying to see 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, next month from now, Christmas Eve, the playoffs. No, he's worried about the Chicago Bears. And I love it. And the same thing, Jalen Hurts was asked about, hey, what's it mean to make the playoffs? Hey, it felt good to get the W this week. Woo, man, this team is so laser focused. Brandon Graham, same deal, man. Hey, woo. At least Brandon Graham acknowledged that, you want to play your best football going into the playoffs. And, Darius Slay, he was a fun quote. He said, yo, I took the James Bradberry disrespect personally. Darius Slay, I mean, he had more venom for the Giants than James Bradberry himself. He said, yo, I took the James Bradberry business personal to me. Like, yo, that's my dog. And he said, I took it personally, so we had to go and whoop that ass. And then somebody in the media asked about Robert Quinn since the Chicago Bears are coming up this week. He said, yeah, same deal. Now we got to go whoop their ass. Walk it like you talk it, Darius Slay. Walk it like you talk it, baby. Stephen J. Patton, Miles Sanders was asked about his contract status in the press conference yesterday. And he is young, and he has emerged. And Sirianni said, hey, game ball. He's been great all year, runs hard, protects the ball, has been much improved. And then Miles Sanders was asked point blank, like, yo, Miles, it's hard not to think about all the money you made yourself this year, huh? And at first, he really didn't know what was going on or what he was being set up for. But he said, listen, I'm not worried about that. I'm not thinking about that. He said, the payday will take care of itself. I'm just going out looking to perform. And, he did acknowledge a couple of weeks ago that he heard the noise, that he was listening to what was being said about him. And he actually circled back to those comments yesterday. I thought it's interesting, right? I'm doing my job. I'm not done yet. It's a demeanor and a mindset. He's like, I heard what people were saying, and like, yo, it changed his approach to the game. Like, he talked about going into the training room this year, even though he's not injured, taking care of his body, right? That's the maturation and the next level of Miles Sanders' development, because now he's in his 4th season. He's probably about 25 years old. He understands what, preserving your body means for the long haul. And the Eagles are going to have that this year. But, man, I don't know if they're going to have it back next year. I just don't think there's going to be enough money to go around to sign a Miles Sanders. So ride it till the wheels fall off, baby. Enjoy him while you can. Enjoy him while you can. 17 carries for $144, 8.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. He gets 10 touchdowns on the season. I think Shady McCoy was the last one to do that. Jalen Hurts, He gets his 10th rushing touchdown. The first player in NFL history with back-to-back 10 touchdowns. Woo! How about that? Yeah, they're clicking on all cylinders. A.J. Brown, he got his numbers. 6 targets, 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Luckily, the fumble was offset by a penalty. Devonta Smith, 8 targets, 5 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, look at how it was distributed. AJ, you get a touchdown. Devonta, you get a touchdown. Hey, Miles, you get a touchdown. Jalen, you get a touchdown. Hey, everybody gets a sticker when you play the New York Football Giants. What a performance. And I'll tell you what, offense, defense, special teams, they had the one blocked punt, but special teams, I think overall, trying to step their game up, man. Yeah, Goddard and Marlon T, more reinforcements on the way. Like, that's the beautiful thing. Yeah, thank you, backup plan. I get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Everybody gets a touchdown. Hey, Oceana, you get a touchdown today? Everybody. Stephen J. Patton, if we have time at the end of the show, maybe we'll get into some of that free agency stuff. Right now, we're just buckled up enjoying the ride. We'll have all offseason talk about who's coming, who's going, who's signing, who's getting drafted. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that. Justin, good question. I don't know. Sirianni was asked about the injuries to Cypus and Reed Blankenship, and he actually said, like, hey, I came in here and spoke to you guys. I'll go talk to the doctors after this. And we'll see. The backup plan says he can't wait for Christmas Eve. He'll have his Eagles Christmas album on full blast and enjoying the eggnog by the fireplace. And I got news for you. I don't think, we get to these litmus test points, and by the time the Eagles get there, it doesn't really turn out to be much of a test, does it? Like, I thought the Packers, when the season started, I thought the November 27th game against the Packers was a litmus test. I circled it. We got there, not so much. Then you get the Tennessee Titans, right? Another one of these 7-win teams, the number 1 seed in the AFC, King Henry this, King Henry that. The Eagles play them, not so much. And you know what? I got news for you. This Dallas Cowboys team doesn't scare me at all. They barely beat the Texans yesterday. Barely. The Houston Texans, the 1-11-1 Houston Texans. You really think this Christmas Eve affair is going to shape up to be a thriller? I think it's going to be more of the Manila. Yeah, I will say this about the free agencies, guys. I counted 10 or 11 starters and another 3 or 4 key role players. So listen, it's a laundry list. There's at least 10 or 11 starters on this roster that are up for free agency. All right. Stephen J. Patton says, good news on Blankenship. Okay, well, hopefully. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson should be back soon. I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's eligible for the Saints game, the second to last game. Goddard is eligible to come back this week. And I'll tell you what, man, the way this offense has expanded in the absence of Dallas Goedert, it's actually become more diversified. They've actually proven that they can beat you in more ways than ever before. And you're starting to see, I mentioned this the first week he was out. You saw it more yesterday. These empty set packages, these, zero tight end personnel sets. And now you bring Goddard back in, and you've got to account for that. Oh, by the way, Quez Watkins was back in the fold. He was able to play what? How many snaps did Quez Watkins play? 32 reps for Quez Watkins. Avonte Maddox, 49 reps. Jordan Davis, 15 reps. We didn't have to call on the young buck as much. Calcaterra had a good game. He had a lot of reps. Yep. Malcolm Jenkins, the Saints do have his rights, guys. I know Malcolm Jenkins came out and was very outspoken about that. But hey, you know what? I think at this point, right now, the Eagles are going to be okay because they're the best team in the NFL. Their injured players are getting back on track and healthier. So reinforcements are on the way. I think you can sit pretty, put this baby in cruise control. Not saying that they will, because we know that's not the mentality. But my point is, they're going to steamroll the Bears. They're going to demolish the Cowgirls. They're going to crush the Saints. And then, by the time it's coming back around again with the Giants, well, then we'll have an audition for these 16 or 17 pending free agents that we're talking about. We'll have an audition here at the end of the year and take a look at some of these young players like a Josiah Scott and Zach McPherson, who still got run yesterday. Scott played 16 reps. McPherson, 12 reps. Nakobe Dean, 12 reps. Josh Jobe, 12 reps. Christian Ellis, 12 reps. So you're seeing in the pipeline, you've got young talent on the horizon to replace some of these guys, right? And that's the beautiful thing about team building and the job that Howie Roseman has done. Don't look now. You've got the front runner for Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Most Valuable Player of the Year. It's RIC here today on this Monday, December 12th, 2022. It's the Football Playbook. Hey, smash that like button. Buckle up. It's a double chin strap affair. We got 30 minutes down, 90 minutes to go. When we come back, I'm going to tell you why yesterday was a separation Sunday, okay? To me, here we are, buckle up, week 14, that was a separation Sunday. I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that after the commercial break. I'm going to pay some bills. It's all brought to you by Ocean Casino Resorts down in Atlantic City. Yes, the Eagles Pondland Hockey pre- and post game was on fire yesterday. So, hey, don't do it now. Maybe after the show, you can go back and rewatch that. Of course, we got Tone DeShields the second, the super producer in the building. We'll be back right after this.
Postgame